Hello, everyone. Welcome to TMI, Too Much Information Live with Moondog. And just got to apologize to everybody out there who accidentally tuned in yesterday because you got some sort of notification from StreamYard that the stream had started. That was probably my mistake for not checking off one checkbox or something when I set up the live stream for today. But I'm glad everybody showed up today. I see Porsche Speedster on the side there and Brent Hamboy. So thanks for coming back today. And we've got you'll be glad you did because we have a special guest today. But before we get started, I want to plug our sponsors, our show sponsors, and of course, starting with my cybersecurity sponsor, Aura.com, which I use to keep me safe when I'm on the web. And they are a great service to use because they offer a whole suite of cybersecurity services, not just VPN and not just credit monitoring and spam blockers, but my favorite service that they offer is data broker removal service, because there are hundreds of these companies out there that buy and sell our information to marketeers, to political organizations, and who knows who else. And they're buy and sell our email addresses, their names, our phone numbers, in some cases, partial social security numbers, and even our addresses, stuff you don't want other people to know about that might have reasons that you don't want them to have that information. Well, it's hard to get yourself off of these data brokers because there's hundreds of them. It's like playing whack-a-mole. But if you use Aura, they will automatically go and reach out to all of these hundreds of companies for you to officially expunge you from their roles. And it's great because if you use my code right there, r.com/moondog, you get 14 free days of their service. So you can make use of all of that, including the data broker removal, and get yourself knocked off of, at least 20, perhaps 30, perhaps more, depending on where your information is. But if you do use them, please let me know. I would like to know how many data brokers that they were able to get you removed from. But again, try them out for free, r.com/moondog. And our next sponsor is Mad Hat Jerky, which is a great jerky company. Let me grab today's prize, which is also our prize for today. It's going to be a gourmet flank spicy original. That's going to be our prize today. Mad Hat Jerky, I eat it. It's great. It was started by Matt. I forget. I actually don't know his last name, but hopefully I got a chance to meet him at SHOT Show. I hear he's going to be there. And he started up when he was 11 years old, won a jerky competition in Pennsylvania, and now he puts out his own jerky. And he's got like a dozen different flavors. All great. Like I just had the black truffle yesterday. It was delicious. So today, if you are the winner of the contest, you will win this bag of Gourmet Flank Spicy Original. And if you use my code, let me just bring that back up on screen here. Use my QR code there, or use code Moondog and get 15% off of your order. And if you use that QR code and go to their website, you could even get a free sample. That's right. You can try. They offer a free sample pack. You just have to pay shipping, and it's not like they're trying to like rip you off by charging $15 for shipping. It's just like $3 for shipping, which is like normal for shipping a packet of something. Anyway, try them out. They're great jerky. I love them. I eat them. So yeah, try them out. And again, thanks for both of our sponsors for sponsoring the show. All right, here to win the prize, you just got to tell me what this mystery brand is, and I'm going to show their logo up on screen here. And if you happen to know this gaming software company, just put a hashtag and put their name on the side chat, and the software, the StreamYard software, will automatically record your screen name, and you'll be into the drawing. So if you know who this company is, put a hashtag and put their two initials. I'm just looking for two initials. Put not their full written name, just the two initials. Put them on the side chat. All right, so let's get into the video so we can get to our special guest and our really interesting topic today. So this week I posted up a review of the Bear Creek Arsenal bolt action, the whole AR system. It's an AR. It's based on an AR-10. Or SR-25, or how it's basically an AR-10, because the AR-10 is a larger format than the AR-15, because this one shoots a standard 308 cartridge out of it. And they sent me the whole thing. I added the scope, and I added the shoulder pad on it. And I tested it and gave it a review. And if you saw the previous week, 2 weeks ago, I posted up a review of their bolt action upper and 6.5 Creed. No, sorry, not Creedmoor, 6.5 Grendel, and had a bit of difficulty working the action on that particular upper, and wanted to see how well, if I just got the whole system and not depending on my own lower, would it run any smoother? Well, let's find out. Let's see this is the video short from the whole review video. What is up with these flyers? Well, this barrel does need to be broken in, and the bolt is sticking again. Now, I understand most rifles need a break-in period. That said, the action on this rifle is rough. These lugs do not want to release. And spoiler alert, this kind of nonsense repeated after every shot in this test. So rather than have you cringe through the next 6 shots, let's just jump ahead and see the resulting groups. Yeah, I definitely had a bit of difficulty with that rifle. And from the feedback that I've been getting so far from folks who've watched the video, they generally had equivalent difficulties getting it to run. Most of them said that they eventually got it to run, just needs a long break-in period. And some of them just said, "Yeah, I'm just going to have to just work on that and work it like it owes me money," is one of the comments I got. And oh, interesting! I got the little graphic there from Apple, from my PowerBook. But somebody said, "Yeah, I've got to work it like 100 to 200 times to get it to run smoothly." Which I don't know. To me, that seems a bit much. My expectation for a break-in period, 50 rounds for a bolt action, maybe 100 to 200 with a semi-auto, for it to run reliably. But I would like it to at least run, you know, more than one shot without having to fight it. So yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna try to test it out again, maybe when I get back from SHOT Show, and I'll do some polishing on the lugs and really grease the bejesus out of the bolt and everything inside, because I put a couple of drops in and they included a little bottle of CLP. I'm assuming because they've had so many reports or complaints from new buyers about how it's been sticking, so they even include a little bottle of CLP. But apparently 1 or 2 drops wasn't enough. I really have to just soak the thing. I don't know. We'll find out. I'm gonna test it out again in a couple of weeks, and we'll see how that goes. I don't know. Let me just see some of the comments we're having here. That is poor user experience, if you ask me. Definitely, it was a poor user experience from my end. Yes. It's painful watching. Yes, totally understandable. And I try to give it as I tried not to be so negative about it, considering they were so nice to send one out for me to test out. But yeah, does the bolt cam to release from the barrel lugs like the autos? Yeah, it uses the same chamber, and the bolt head is the same as a standard AR, I assume, or AR-10. I don't know if there's one less lug in an AR-10 versus an AR-15. Actually, don't know that. Didn't do enough research on that. But they're using standard sort of mil spec. It's not a custom head. The carrier group itself, obviously, is different, but the bolt head is the same. Yes, Porsche Speedster's suggestion, his tip is lube the Shizite from out of it. Yeah, so I definitely will. I'll do that. Okay. Moving on. So on my Moondog Reviews channel, where I review my gadgets, I posted up another short from the Wuben G5 test, and this is an interesting little EDC light. It's about the size of a Zippo, and the emitter head turns a full 180. So it's a clip-on light, very small, very compact, and very very flexible in terms of where you can aim the thing. So let's see how that went. I recharged the flashlight, and we're going to see how long it'll run with a fully charged battery starting in its highest brightness mode. But don't worry, we're not going to have to sit here for hours or however long it's going to take. I've set the camera on time-lapse mode. So how long do you think it'll run? 30 minutes? 60 minutes? 100 minutes? Leave a comment right now with your best guess, and we'll find out together how accurate your guess was. Well, there's 30 minutes right there. So anybody who guessed 30 minutes, well, it's still going. And it surprisingly hasn't gotten any dimmer yet. And for those of you who think this is a fake time lapse, I'd like to point out the ants on the bench there that are moving at high speed. Okay, there's 60 minutes and it's still going. And it still looks remarkably bright. So who out there thinks this will go up to 100 minutes?
You think it'll go
Nope,
to 100?
it didn't. It stopped at about 77
there
minutes,
you go.
which is actually over 10 minutes longer than the G5 specs claim for its runtime. So this is pretty good.
So to Brent, sorry, it was 77 or a little over 77 minutes, just about. So it's actually, I think it's only rated for 60. So if I'm remembering the spec sheet correctly, but so it did run longer than that. And in my lumen testing, it actually output more than I thought it was. So overall, in all, it performed better than their specs, which is really good thing. And I think it retails for only like $20. So I think it's a reasonable price for a little light like that. All right. So on my Moondog Go channel, well, I posted a short from the little plug. I really love these snack chocolate covered almonds, and I did just for fun. I'm not sponsored by them. I would like to be sponsored by Pockets Chocolates, but I did this little short of how I would promote them if they were to ever sponsor me. Oh, it's pretty good. This is really good. And oat milk covered matcha flavored chocolates. Real Japanese matcha. Wow. Great. I could just eat the whole bag. I don't know. Do you think this is all that compelling? But maybe it is, because it's absolutely honest at the very least. I literally could eat the whole bag. So let me know what you think. I did end up eating the whole bag, so I gotta say, I always try to I'll just eat one serving. There's like 3 servings inside the bag, but I always end up eating the whole bag. But it's relatively low carb because it's less than a gram of sugar per almond, so it's great. I'm gonna poop for a week. Yeah, good fiber. So there we go. Another positive aspect of eating lots of these pocket chocolate nuts. All right, so moving on. We usually do a segment on the show where I do a thumbnail this, where I ask you to give me a suggestion for a new video that's coming up. But and there will be new video coming up. But this next week I will be at SHOT Show. So I won't be. I'll post up a pre-recorded episode for next Wednesday. So just a heads up, it's not going to be a live show, but I'll figure out some way to record, to give you a prize for next week. And I'm going to be at SHOT Show. So let me know in the chat commentary and post after the show is over if you want me to hit any specific booths to get swag for the future shows, because I've been giving away lots of patches and other swag that I picked up from last year's SHOT Show. So if you have a particular brand that you want swag from, please let me know, and I'll be happy to swing by that booth. And hopefully they have some cool swag, or at least some booths have. I have no control over what kind of swag they're going to be bringing, but at least it'll be a brand that you might be interested in. So, by the way, at SHOT Show, I've been I've been commissioned by Vector Optics to be their, I guess, influencer, micro celebrity at their booth for Tuesday morning, and also Friday morning at their booth. So from what I understand, they've invited me there to give away stuff. I don't know if it's just swag, but they also mentioned that there's going to be an optics giveaway. I don't know what that is. If it's going to be a red dot or one of their optics, but their optics are great. At least the ones that I've tested, which are there. Let me see if I have a sample here. Yes, I do. Let me just bring myself up here for a moment. And this is their Vector Optics Continental, which is their top of the line as far as their product line. This uses German shot glass, and I've gotten into like mini debates about some of the guys who posted saying, "Oh yeah, it's not real German shot glass. It's it's made in China." It's like they say that this is the German shot glass, and I haven't yet gotten confirmation from the folks at SHOT in Germany. But from my understanding from previous SHOT shows, only the German shot glass, the German-made shot glass, is the ones that are used for optics. They do have facilities, factories in Asia. I don't know if it's Vietnam or there's one in China, and then I think there's one in India. I could be, but they have other facilities, but that's different kinds of glass. That's scientific glass, the kind that makes beakers and other things like that. But it's not optical grade for scopes and binoculars and things. That's the only factory that they have that makes optical grade is in Germany. So anyway, great. The Continentals are great scopes. Not the cheapest. I mean, Vector in compared to other scopes is definitely cheaper than, let's say, buying a Zeiss or a Miopta or a Schmidt Bender, of course. But they're not as cheap as, say, CV Life or what have you. But they are excellent as far as I can tell from build quality on those Continentals. I'll be filming at their booth. I want to check out all their other scopes, which I have not actually seen the quality of. I'm guessing, of course, the lower end scopes aren't going to be as nice as these, but I don't know. We'll find out. So I'm not sure what else I'm going to be doing there, but the rest of the time, I guess that I'm supposed to be there for 2 hours. So I'll be answering questions. I'll be meeting folks. So hopefully if you or anybody else is happening to be at SHOT Show, come by the Vector Optics booth. Oh, I'll put that up on stage again here. That is the map of the Venetian Level 1 Expo, the street level. And I don't know if you can zoom in, see that little highlight in green, near the bottom center of this. Let me see if I can bring this up a little bit bigger or not. Not much bigger, but over near where it says bridge to Caesars Forum, if you go directly to the right, that little green highlight is where the Vector Optics booth is going to be. So it's near the western wall of the basement, or the first floor, the ground floor, the street level of the Venetian Expo. But it's called the basement because it's below the main expo floor, and it's got lower ceilings, and it feels a little bit like a parking garage. So, but there's tons. There's way more booths in the Venetian Level 1 Expo by like double or triple than the main floor above, which has all the bigger brands, like Winchester and Heckler and Koch and Beretta. So those, yes, as Tim Mooney says, the dungeon. So that's where I'm going to be for 2 hours on Tuesday and also on Friday. All right. Let's get to our next clue in the name of the brand. This US gaming company, owns Maxis Software, the creator of the Sims and SimCity franchise of games. These sim games popularizes the simulation model of cities, life, and the universe. It's in the name of, obviously the franchise. So this company owns Maxis. What is this gaming company? And I'd like to, if put a hashtag and put the two initials that are the name of this company on the side chat, and you'll be automatically entered to win the Mad Hat Jerky prize today. So if you know it, put
And if that's a clue right there, it's one of the few gaming companies that has a two-letter name. So if you know it, put it on the side chat there. And the reason why I chose them is because it goes in with the topic of today, simulations. Well, down the rabbit hole. For those of you who don't know, ChatGPT is probably the most well-known of the AI systems that are out there. Of course, there's Gemini, there's Grok, there's a whole slew of other AI companies, but these AI companies are actually a specific kind of artificial intelligence called large language models. And let me just read the blurb that I wrote on there. These are powerful AI systems built on deep learning, like transformers, and trained in massive text databases that understand, generate, summarize, and translate human language, essentially predicting the next most probable word in a sequence. So what these things are, and I will, if you remember magnetic poetry. Um, for those of you who are old enough, there was this thing that you buy and you put it on your fridge, and you can make poetry out of these different words. Well, essentially, when you use you know what? Maybe I should bring in the expert on this before I try to explain it. But so here we go. The guest today is my friend Paul Dravis, who's the former managing director of Bank of America, former VP at JP Morgan Chase, and the founder of Future Proofing Machine, a technology analysis and consulting company focused on emerging technologies. He puts out a newsletter every month talking about new technologies in the horizon and how it could potentially change the landscape. And he was an early adopter into VR, got me exposed to it. Gosh, it's been almost like 10 years since he showed me his VR set. And he's just a great guy. So I'd like to welcome to the stage my friend, Paul. Hey, how are you, Paul?
Good evening. How are you?
Very good. So hopefully I gave a little bit of a useful intro to everybody. Do you want to give your 30-second pitch as to your background and how you got into this?
Now, I've been zigzagging around technology and finance and investing for quite a while. So it's been a great learning experience and great exposure to a lot of interesting people and things along the way. As you mentioned, though, we crossed paths. I think it was around 2016, 2017, when that first wave of virtual reality and augmented reality was hitting the marketplace. And I dabbled in it and did a variety of events. But the thing that fascinated me about VR and AR was the fact that we're sitting here looking at a two-dimensional screen, and we live in a three-dimensional world,
Yeah.
right? So that was the captivating component of virtual reality, was technology that was allowing us to explore and reimagine things in a three-dimensional construct versus the two-dimensional screen that we spend looking at on our Macs and PCs and iPhones and Android devices. But you were talking about the words on the refrigerator, and that's
Yes.
actually a pretty good visual representation of kind of the hodgepodge of what goes on. There's probably a little bit more intelligence in some of the LLM platforms than a refrigerator, but that could change in a few years.
Sure.
What I want to do is just throw out a few quotes. I've got a bunch of notes here, but we may not even reference those along the way. And just kind of some anecdotes of what we're seeing, and open it up to questions and have a dialogue. But I want to thank you for the invitation to participate in this session today. So with that, last week, the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas, there were several keynotes. Several of them focused on this thing of world models and physical AI, which was pretty captivating. And I don't want to diminish the role of large language models. They're pervasive. We're all using them. But I would make the case that AI and technology is a broader encompassing set of dynamics. And even what I'm going to share with you today only addresses a small sliver of this whole physical and world model environment. But anyway, three quotes, one short, couple of them a little bit longer, coming out of Las Vegas last week at CES. So the ever ubiquitous CEO of NVIDIA, he had a kind of a really nice, pungent one-liner and said, the ChatGPT moment for physical AI is here, when machines begin to understand, reason, and act in the real world. And I think that sort of sums it up. But in a more fundamental fashion, an old world firm, Siemens, the CEO of Siemens was also doing a keynote last week. And what did he have to say? Well, he had a lot to say, but I think the core message was there was a world before electricity. Today, electricity is ubiquitous. There was a world before AI. Right now, we are transitioning to a world that makes full use of it, including in factories, buildings, grids. I'm assuming he was talking about electric grids, and transportation. Industrial AI is no longer a feature, it's a force that will reshape the next century. And in the industrial world, just to be a little bit more pragmatic, hallucinations, which are often associated with large language models, but hallucinations are not acceptable. And then finally, the last quote that I'm going to share with you is from the senior director of robotics from Google DeepMind. And she said, we think robots should understand the physical world in the same way that we all do. They should be able to learn from their experiences, generalize new situations, and get better over time, whether it's assessing a new car part or tying your shoelaces. Obviously, they haven't seen how I do my shoelaces. But robots should learn the way we do from a handful of examples, synthesize that information, and get better with practice over time. So that was at CES last week. This week in San Francisco, and we're both in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Downtown, there's a once a year gigantic investor conference taking place. It's the JP Morgan Healthcare Conference. And Axios, you're familiar with Axios? Yeah. They sent out a summary of what's the action, what are the fundamentals taking place, and it was like pharma and biotech and all sorts of other amazing dynamics. And at the bottom, they said the big winner from this year's one person's view.
Yeah.
But the big winner from JP Morgan Healthcare is Waymo. And that's because you have all of these investors and all of these startups and all of these CEOs coming into San Francisco from all over the world. And if you live or do business in San Francisco, you realize how ubiquitous the Waymo autonomous vehicles are. They are all over the streets, and they're just they work. There's some hiccups, but they work amazingly well. And I think Waymo is probably the best example of this whole notion of physical AI, because they embody, right? What do they do? They're taking a moving vehicle automation embedded with a whole class of new sensors and integrating it with a lot of mapping and AI technology to navigate and act and anticipate the real world situations. So it's this, you could go on and on with great examples, but I think 3 months ago, even the CEO of Google was in town, and they don't have Waymos down in Silicon Valley, so I didn't realize that they didn't. No, you have to come up to San Francisco to get a ride in one.
Yeah, part of the deal. Everybody who I talk to, especially back in New York, if they're coming out, like, oh yeah, I want to get on a Waymo because they're so excited because they haven't been in one.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Google CEO, I mean, even he was, and he didn't come here for a Waymo event, but during the Q&A, he goes, "Oh wow," like. Because I'm sure he's gotten rides in Waymos in a very controlled environment down in Silicon Valley, but here it's like you just jump into one and you go and it drops you off at your location, and they've been here for a while. So if you're living in San Francisco, the notion of a vehicle driving self-propelled with no one in the driver's seat is not a mystery. It's kind of, normal, the normal action. But anyway, go ahead.
I'm probably me and my son are probably the only members of our family who hasn't been on one yet. I mean, actually been a passenger in them. I see them all the time, because I'm the driver in the family. But and to be fair, they probably, while they, I've seen hiccups like, them just stopping and not, and still trying to figure out whether or not they should go. And I've even had a Waymo when we were walking in the Veterans Day parade 2 years ago in Fisherman's Wharf. A Waymo came down and turned into the parade because it didn't know there was a parade.
Right.
Yeah. So, and there's those hiccups, but they're, in general, they aren't any worse drivers than most of the humans I see on the road in terms of their behavior.
Yeah, the good and the bad, they obey all the rules.
Yeah, to it, and to a fault.
Which means they obey the speed limit. Right?
Yeah.
So you have to factor that in of, is it going to be a really expedient trip or not? Well, they're going to follow the rules. I will. This has nothing to do with AI, but I have to share this funny anecdote. And this was several years ago. There was a Waymo. I think it was a Waymo coming up the street where I live. And it was during the day, and it was parked on the side of the road. And I was like, "Is this Waymo broken down?" It was just sitting there for a while. And then this woman hops out, and she was probably in her early 80s.
Oh.
And I said, "Well, what's going on?" She said, "Well, I'm getting out. I'm part of the beta test." And I said, "Really?" She goes, "Yeah, they were looking for older folks, and so I signed up, and so I'm in the beta program." I said, "How is it?" She goes, "Well, I hope the city never approves the Waymos, because I think they're wonderful, and as long as the test is taking place, I get free rides."
That is a brilliant way to look at it.
Yeah. So it's really spectacular stuff. So that's I could go on and on. It just folks come to visit us, and we have meetings with, like, "Did you do a Waymo?" "No," or "Yes," or "My 3-year-old just hopped in one." I heard this story earlier today, and this woman said, because she was here for the conference, and she said, "Yeah, my 3-year-old is like completely a fan of them now, having just kind of gone around, and it's kind of smooth sailing." But yeah, no. So it's pretty fascinating. Um, there's a lot going on. We're all familiar with Amazon, and they've got the a lot of automation in their warehouses. But even so Sleepy John Deere, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
So John Deere, they've got automated tractors just to kind of till the soil, but also they're using AI to do precision spraying of crops, and what that allows is less use of herbicides.
Right,
So
right.
you're going to drop the usage down from 60% or more, and that's going to be better compliance with regulatory rules, and also it's more cost effective. So that's yet another example. But here's a sort of contrarian view. Because you're dealing with all of this sort of real world stuff,
Yeah.
firms like Siemens and Rockwell, they may have an advantage in
Why?
this market. Yeah, that's a good question. No,
I mean, I can
because
understand kind of Rockwell and some of the defense industry, because they're all into drones.
yeah,
Military.
well,
Yeah.
because unlike the guys who just sit around and they're writing code, and there's a problem, there's a bug, you spin a new version up overnight and you release it. In the physical world, you have a lot of legacy hardware.
Oh,
You have
right.
to you
Yeah,
you have to interface with not only do you have to deploy and have technology that's going to last a long time, but you're probably going to have to interface with a lot of legacy gear that might be in place in your environment that could be up to 30 years old. And they have that sensibility that this is the marketplace that they've been operating in. It has to be reliable, it has to be durable, and all of those. And you also have to deal with a lot of regulatory compliance, where folks that are just doing software, they're like, "What? Here's my pitch deck. I just raised $40 million or $400 million. Don't you get it?" and the sort of the incumbent legacy players are like, "No, I don't get it." You have to be reliable, durable, and cost effective.
Well, I think might have been I, Robot, Isaac Asimov,
Yep.
that series, and or the robot series, where he pointed out there was somebody who was asking why do robots look like humans, and he even said it and predicted that in in the 1950s or 60s. That's because all the machines we have are built for humans, so we can we have to have something that can fit into that physical space, the seat and the controls, and that's
Right.
the reason. Yeah, then that makes absolute sense, and is probably why Honda and even Tesla are into making robots, like human robots, right?
Right.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah. Go ahead.
oh, I was gonna bring up some of a comment. I remember my sister from this is from one of the guys on the side chat, that his sister is part of a beta test for Cruise.
And most people are going to say, "Who is Cruz?"
And what's the other brand? Oh, Zooks, or is it Zooks? The other
Zooks. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, that's
Zooks.
another competitor for those of you who aren't in San Francisco and who are watching this from other states. There's a couple of other competing autonomous taxi vehicle brands out there, and I forget who's the money behind Zooks. Is it Amazon?
Amazon owns Zooks.
Okay, yeah. So, thank you. I figured you'd know, and yeah, their sort of claim to fame, or at least their differentiator here, is that the Zoox vehicles, except for their prototypes that were driving around earlier, they're custom built for this job. They don't even have, whereas the Waymos are customized Jaguar SUVs, or crossover vehicles. So they're using essentially cars that you could buy, but heavily customized, obviously with their sensors. But the Zooks are custom designed to be autonomous vehicles, and that there's no seats for a driver in there. They're just two bench seats they're facing each other, and you get in, and it looks like a people mover or something from
Right.
Disney World. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the design form factor is that there is no front or back.
Yeah.
So you can just pull in and then pull out without having to turn around. Yeah. The other also last week, NVIDIA had a meeting. I guess it was in conjunction with their presentation at CES in Las Vegas.
Were
But
you there
they
for CES?
I was not. I was just kind of. I mean, I was just zooming in, literally. But they showed their capability. So NVIDIA is working with car manufacturers to bring autonomous capabilities to Mercedes, Lucid, and a
Oh,
few
right. Yeah.
others.
Yeah.
And of course, the video that they showed was a test drive through San Francisco, starting at the ferry building and then going through the marina and on and on and on, which was always fun. But the reality is, and it's got to be hard to be a car purchaser at the moment, right? Because there's so much technology innovation. Where do you want to place your bet? I mean, it's even worse than, remember the old days where I'm not going to buy a laptop because there's going to be a new rev
Yes. Yeah.
of hardware. That's now kind of the way the auto industry is.
I'm, your kids are older, adults now. I've got kids who are my oldest daughter is just getting into driving age, and I'm really having to push her. Like, I still have to get her to finish taking the pre-exam so that she can actually take the written exam over the DMV.
Right.
And they're just not interested at all in driving. Whereas, prior to this generation's, that cars were freedom. But
Right.
now with kids being online all the time, my kids would rather connect with their friends online than actually go seeing them on the weekends. Like, I have to, like, I've asked multiple times, hey, do you want to, I'll drive you and your friends to go hang out in the mall. Would you like to go? And they're just like, nope, crickets. That right.
Right.
And I'm kind of wondering, like, maybe I should, there's no point in me forcing them to go get a driving license. I don't know. It's outside of the US, actually outside of San Francisco, you definitely need a driver's license if to get rental car or wherever. It's rolling out fast, but you're going to end up in places, especially outside of the U.S. and other countries, where, yeah, I mean, aside from hailing taxis, it would behoove you to know how to drive. Kind of like learning, but then again, it's like asking people to saying you should learn how to drive stick. I mean, nobody's really interested in learning to drive stick, right?
Gosh, I remember, yeah, driving a stick. That was a badge of honor.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can just, work it. Oh, I can brake on a hill.
Yeah.
And then I can brake on a hill in San Francisco. Oh, there went my clutch.
Yeah, that's definitely a test that if you can drive a stick in San Francisco.
But to your point though about driving and the sensibility of driving, maybe I don't know what the generational shift is, but maybe it's, well, I don't have to get a pilot's license. I just get in a plane, right?
Good point.
So
Excellent
maybe
point.
it's like, I don't need a driver's license. I just hop on mass transit or hop into an autonomous vehicle and
or Uber.
it'll
That's
take
pretty
me
much
there.
ubiquitous,
Or an
right?
Uber.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, in fact, Uber is, I might be wrong. I don't think I'm wrong. I think Uber is working with Lucid
I'm
on
yeah.
their gravity SUV
Mm-hmm.
with the NVIDIA technology to bring autonomous capabilities. I don't know if you've been in one of the Lucid Gravities. I've only seen them
No.
in a showroom.
Yeah.
I hear they're a great ride. I hear they're a great ride, and they're also a very expensive ride.
Well, yeah. Um, Tesla's great in that they've sort of the Henry Ford or the Model T. I mean, they're expensive, but compared to some of the other electric vehicles out there, yeah, they're much more affordable than a Lucid or a Rivian. Yeah, they're much more expensive options out there. So,
Yeah. So, and real, because one thing to remember is, and we've been talking about automation and
mhm.
autonomous vehicles. If you sit down and you Google world AI models, you're going to find actually a lot of other types of applications, that have to do with healthcare and and science and geology and things like that. So just because we've been talking about what we've been talking about, as I said, this is just a sliver. The universe is much more expansive, and the beauty of technology is what's true today is going to be old school. Not that far down the road, and we're just going to see a continual turn of innovation in a very positive way. I am bullish about AI. I understand all of the concerns that people have about workforce issues and privacy issues, and they are what they are. I mean, I'm not going to solve it. I don't personally. I don't think, and even the some of the reports that are coming out don't support massive shifts in the labor force. Some jobs will go away, others will be created, and some things that you do now that you probably don't want to do in your role will be automated, and you'll be ratcheted up to more of a supervisory role as well.
Maybe you can speak a little bit to this. I've been hearing things that a lot of the companies that have been laying off folks in the last, say, 6 to 9 months, have been doing it purely as a cost cutting reason, and then blaming AI for it. Is there any validity to that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's some of that. There's also an amplifying effect that ironically, the disruptive nature of AI in the software industry, and that is what we're finding out is that what it used to be, software development, it's part science and it's part art. Well, now we're finding out that it's part rote processing.
Yes, it's a lot of copy and paste.
It's a lot of
Of
copy
code
and
from
paste.
somewhere else, and then just making little tweaks here and there.
Right, and I've heard more than a few folks that have said, "Whoa, wow, this is they're writing better SQL statements than I ever did, and in a more elegant fashion." Having said that, God, this has to go back probably around 2016, 2017.
Mhm.
I was at a conference and I made some statement, because these guys are talking about data scientists, And just to date myself, I said, yeah, data scientists are like the janitors of the technology sector, because all they're doing is cleaning up the data to make sure the metadata is correct, the formatting is, and you avoid the whole garbage in, garbage out.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
every time I would say that several years ago, all the data scientists in the room would say, "You're absolutely correct." Fast forward to today, they are front of the pack. The most sought after roles are the data scientists that can actually help with all of those things, because we just have an insatiable appetite for data of all types, both created, brought in through sensors, and also synthetically created.
This is true, and why there's just been a huge boom of data centers, and I was just looking at some of the drive makers. They're as much as almost as much as Nvidia stock has just ballooned. All the drive makers like Seagate and Western Digital, they've just ballooned because everybody needs to store this data somewhere.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It used to be, oh, hardware. What are you investing in hardware for? And now
No, did you get into any of the watch any of the footage of them talking about Grok and how they were saying that they're not going to be hiring any more coders. They're just going to be using AI to. I don't know. I mean, that sounds like a little hyperbole. A lot of
yeah,
hyperbole. Let me
I
rephrase
think
that.
it's,
A lot of hyperbole.
yeah, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of rote stuff that can be automated and put in a box. But the reality is, like, as in any business, there's just a lot of hard stuff that has to be dealt with. And whether it's just new logic models or new hardware that's being brought in that has to be integrated. Um, so yeah, I think it makes for great press and great kind of bragging rights,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I'm not quite there yet.
Excellent. So I'm really appreciative of your time. You are. I mean, this is what you do. This is your bread and butter. So the fact that you're spending the time to explain a lot of this stuff on my show, I really appreciate that. So I don't want to monopolize it too much of your time since we're near the end of the hour. Um, if you had to, if from what you've learned so far, where do you think are going to be the the things that we need to tell our kids that they should be doing? Because before, maybe 10 years ago, the meme was learn to code, and of course now, as we're talking about how AI has really taken a lot of the low rung jobs in terms of it's the drudgery work of like take this code for this particular application and let's do it this. It's almost exactly the same. We're just going to change a couple of things about it. So those kind of coding jobs really are going to be replaced by currently by large language model AIs. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend everybody to get into software engineering necessarily, but where would you recommend if folks were, going into school now?
Yeah, I would. I hate to sound very vanilla, but no, just, well, at one level, just follow your passion, because
Mm-hmm.
that's going to lead you toward an area that you're going to develop some domain expertise,
Mm-hmm.
and that domain expertise is always going to be valuable regardless. And when all of those coders, when they talk about software is being automated, yeah, I mean, they're doing like the very basic cut and paste stuff that you were mentioning earlier. But then there's, I mean, there's a startup in San Francisco called Harvey. Are you familiar with Harvey?
No, what do they do?
Okay, so here's a funny story. So you ever watch the show Suits?
Yeah.
Okay, who's the lead guy? His name
Well,
is Harvey.
really,
His name is Harvey.
yeah.
The the
Oh,
the senior attorney.
yeah, yeah.
His name is Harvey. So these guys in San Francisco, true story, they decided they were going to apply AI to law firms,
Oh, yes, yeah. Uh-huh.
and they said, well, we're going to call it Harvey after the guy in Suits. And it's like the valuation is like over $1 billion.
Oh my gosh. Well,
And
and
yeah,
that's um the irony is that what the joke was that what do you call 5,000 lawyers under the sea? A
go
good
ahead.
start.
A good
Because
start,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, well, but there's I've spent a little bit of time trying to figure out how city government works, and I've realized, like there's
Oh,
all this. We could have like 15 podcasts on that, but we're not going to. Um, but don't get me started. But there's so much uh, difference of views and also ambiguity of how ends can be addressed.
mm-hmm.
And that's again getting back to the domain expertise is kind of threading the needle and getting to a successful outcome. So I think those are whether it's at the moment people are saying, oh, God, attorneys are going to be disrupted, and this is and so many other things. Well, I mean, the role's going to change, but the complexities are so significant that great opportunities regardless.
Absolutely. So look out for this new company out there who's going to be taking over the law clerking and and research.
Or
Who
or
knows?
all sorts of
Potentially.
all sorts of other stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Paul, do you have time to stick around for the contests and giveaways?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Let me bring that up, and I'll let you make the call to we can hit the randomizer. So for everybody, let me just bring this up here. We've got the contest that's coming up. Here's the final clue for the brand. This 2-letter name company is among the world's largest publishers of gaming software, founded in 1982 by Trip Hawkins, who was another side, too much information. I believe he was a former Apple employee. And Trip this company's HQ is in Redwood City, and it publishes such franchises as Army of Two, Battlefield, Command and Conquer, Dragon Age, Dead Space, Mass Effect, Medal of Honor, Need for Speed, Plants vs. Zombies, Madden, NBA Live, and The Sims, who I've mentioned earlier. So if you know this company, you'll get a chance to win Mad Hat Jerky. Just put in a hashtag and the 2-letter name of this company in the side chat right now, and we're going to randomly have Paul poll the name of the winner there. And if you are the winner, and I'll show on screen your screen name, what I want you to do is email me at contest@moondogindustries.com, and I'll put a QR there, and I'll put it in the side chat here as well. What I want you to do is email me there, and I will send me put the correct answer in the subject line, and also send me where you want the prize sent. You can send it to yourself, or you can send it to a friend, family, or whoever. Just put it just on the side chat there, but contest@moondogindustries.com. So that's where I want you to send me the mail to information for the prize. Okay, so also want to mention that there are 2 contests on my website right now. One of them is to win this Accu Vista LPVO, and it's a first focal plane 1 to 10. And also a chance to win an O-Sight C, and that's their new red dot that has a battery power. As you can see, there is a little battery compartment. So the O-Sight series was the first to come out. They were rechargeable, and these ones are to address everybody's sort of complaint that they didn't want a rechargeable red dot. Now you can just put a regular battery in there. So you get a chance to win. There's 2 different contests, so you can enter both on my website, and I'll include a link right now to the contest page. And let me see if we've got this new feature where I can put up a QR code. There we go. So if you want to take a photo, screenshot, or whatever, there's your QR code. That'll take you to moondogindustries.com/contest. All right. And that contest will be concluded at the end of this month, by the way, to win the LPVO and this red dot. And of course, you could always, there's some stuff that is on my website at moondogindustries.com/yard sale. That's a fundraiser for my son's middle school trip to Washington, D.C. So if you buy any of those items there, that'll go to the fundraiser. And so today, for those of you who entered the contest for last month, this is the prize from last month's contest. It is an Aquilofer 1 to 8 LPVO. So actually, Dave, I'm going to ask you to call the draw the winner for two contests. So let's start with the entrance for the Aquilofer, and let me bring up that share screen for the contest. The wheel of names here. Do you see that on screen?
I do.
Okay, so just give me a countdown, and I will hit the spin button, and we'll pick the winner. So
go.
Okay, there we go. Oh, Michael Dunn. Congratulations. Okay, I'm going to take a screenshot of this. So congratulations, Michael Dunn. All right. Michael, I've got your contact information because that's part of the entrance on the website. It has so you don't have to email me or anything like that. But for the next prize, which is going to be for the Mad Hat Jerky for today, that is going to, let me just switch this out and share screen for the giveaway tool. All right, so there we go. That is the 2-letter name of the company that we're going to be drawing today. Same deal here. Just tell me when to hit the draw button.
Go.
Okay. And it's going to be Pick. Congratulations. And I think he might have won at Mad Hat in a previous week, but I hope you like the last one. This one, Gourmet Flank Spicy Original, is going out to you. So Pick, send me an email. Just to remind you, I'm pretty sure. Yes, he said I am the Jerky King. So he has won previous weeks. So excellent. All right. Well, thank you, Paul. Is there any where can people find you? futureperfectmachine.com? Is that or
if you want to be added to the distribution list, just send me an email at paul@dravis, my last name, .net, N-E-T.
let me just type that on there. paul@dravis.net.
Correct.
All right. And I think I've posted it up correctly on the side chat there. Again, thank you, Paul, for being on here. I'm sure this was really cool. I mean, I got a lot of cool information about this, and maybe we can both head over to CES next year. I would definitely want to go. I actually got invited as media, but I couldn't make it with my schedule here. But I'm going to try to squeeze in because it's kind of hard because it's back to back with SHOT Show, which I'm going at next week. But I'll see if I can squeeze some time next year. Anyway, thanks for being on the show, and thanks everybody for tuning in. And if you enjoyed the show, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. All right, everybody. I'll see you next week, but it'll be a recorded show. So thanks for tuning in. You be safe out there. God bless. Moondog. Hey, I'd like to know what you thought of this video. Leave me a comment or chat with me on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, MeWe, Instagram, or Locals. And if you want to see all of my videos, go to moondogindustries.com.